Let's stop lying to ourselves. She says she wants a nice guy, kind, respectful, sensitive, and yet, who does she chase? The man who walks with purpose, the man who's unpredictable, the man who could be dangerous, not to her, but to the world. Why? Because women are not attracted to safety. They're attracted to strength, to danger under control, to power held in restraint. And if you don't understand this, you'll keep getting passed over, overlooked, and left wondering why being nice never works. It's time for the brutal truth. Women are emotional creatures by nature. They are drawn to experiences, to energy, to unpredictability. Not because they want chaos, but because they crave feeling. A man who is too predictable, too available, and too agreeable often fails to spark that emotional fire. He's safe. Yes, but he's also forgettable. A dangerous man, on the other hand, brings something different to the table. He's not reckless, but he is intense. He has an edge, a sense of mystery and purpose that makes a woman feel like she's stepping into something alive, powerful, and real. This type of man doesn't try to please. He doesn't live for approval. That very attitude creates emotional tension, something women unconsciously crave. When a woman can't quite figure him out, when she doesn't know exactly what he'll do next, her emotions stay engaged. He's not boring. He challenges her. He pulls her out of her routine and into a world that feels more exciting, more uncertain, and therefore more meaningful. Emotional stimulation is the key to attraction. And men who are too nice, too soft, too eager to please, simply don't create that inner spark. They might be great on paper, but they lack the emotional depth and raw intensity that makes a woman feel fully alive. A dangerous man does the opposite. His presence alone stirs something in her. Curiosity, adrenaline, fascination. She doesn't desire him because she wants to be hurt. She desires him because he makes her feel something she doesn't feel with the others. He awakens her instincts. He breaks through her emotional numbness. He reminds her of what it means to feel again. And once a woman feels that kind of spark, it becomes nearly impossible for her to go back to anything less. That's the unspoken truth behind why dangerous men always stand out. There's a major difference between being dangerous and being destructive. A truly dangerous man isn't someone who acts out violently or impulsively. He's someone who has the capacity for force, for power, for dominance, but keeps it under complete control. That restraint, that discipline, is exactly what makes him so attractive. It's not that he would ever hurt her. It's that he could protect, defend, and command a situation if needed. And that subtle, quiet capability makes her feel deeply safe. Not because he's harmless, but because he's powerful and chooses to be gentle. Modern men are often told to suppress their masculine edge. They're taught to be soft, agreeable, and non-confrontational in the name of being good. But women don't respond to that. Deep in their biology, they're wired to be drawn to a man who can handle life. A man who can walk into a room and instantly be respected. A man who can deal with chaos without being consumed by it. This is primal. This goes beyond logic and into instinct. When a man has the potential for violence or aggression but carries himself with discipline and purpose, he becomes magnetic. He's the calm in the storm, but also the one who could become the storm if absolutely necessary. And that duality is what draws women in. They sense his strength without him having to say a word. His energy speaks. His presence is undeniable. This isn't about being threatening. It's about being fully developed. A man who has faced his darker side, mastered it, and chosen strength over weakness. That man doesn't need to raise his voice. His confidence is quiet, grounded, and unshakable. And that is exactly the type of man women are instinctively drawn to, because his presence alone makes them feel secure, desired, and fully feminine. A dangerous man doesn't beg for attention or validation. He doesn't need to raise his voice, act out, or try to impress anyone. His presence alone commands respect. It's in how he carries himself, calm, aware, and completely grounded. People notice him not because he's loud, but because he's centered. That kind of quiet confidence is rare, and women are drawn to it instinctively. They don't just see him, they feel him. His energy speaks before he even opens his mouth. Respect is never demanded by men like this. It's earned through how they live. They move with intention. They know who they are, what they stand for, and what they're willing to walk away from. That's why they never over-explain themselves. They don't seek approval. They don't try to convince anyone of their worth. They simply live it. And because of that, others naturally follow. Women are incredibly intuitive. They can sense when a man is trying too hard, when he's insecure beneath a fake persona. They can also sense when a man is authentic and unbothered by external opinions. That's the man who stands out. When she sees that he doesn't flinch under pressure, that he doesn't chase after her or anyone else for validation, something shifts in her. It triggers respect and often deep attraction. This isn't about arrogance. It's about self-possession. A man who knows his value doesn't announce it. He embodies it. He doesn't try to be liked. He simply shows up as himself, fully, with strength and certainty. And in a world full of men trying to prove themselves, the one who doesn't have to, that's the man women remember. That's the man they trust. And that's the man they want to follow, because he brings something they rarely feel: emotional safety and unwavering presence. A dangerous man doesn't live for approval, likes, or external praise. He lives for his mission. His life is built around purpose, not people-pleasing. He wakes up with direction. His goals are clear. And that unwavering sense of purpose is what gives him his edge. It's not just ambition, it's identity. When a man is truly grounded in his own path, everything else becomes secondary, including attention from women. Ironically, that's exactly what draws women to him. He doesn't chase because he's too focused on building. He doesn't crumble when someone leaves because he knows his purpose was never tied to another person. It was always his own. That level of independence is magnetic. It shows maturity, strength, and self-respect. And women admire that more than any compliment or gift. They want a man whose life doesn't revolve around them, but who chooses to include them in a powerful, forward-moving journey. This type of man doesn't get distracted easily. He's not scrolling, waiting for a reply. He's not obsessing over someone's silence. He's locked in, focused on his craft, his health, his vision. He understands that his value doesn't come from what others think. It comes from what he produces, how he lives, and who he becomes. Women want to feel like they're entering a story that's already being written, not starting from a blank page. They want to step into a man's world and be inspired by how complete it already is. A man with purpose doesn't just attract with charm, he attracts with direction. His life has momentum, his energy has weight, and that weight creates gravity. A man on his mission doesn't ask for attention. He commands it, not through force, but through the sheer strength of living life on his own terms, and letting the right people rise to meet him there. When a man fully embraces his masculine energy, it naturally invites a woman into her feminine. This is not about dominance or control, it's about polarity. Masculine and feminine energies are opposite forces that attract. The more grounded, calm, and certain a man is in who he is, the more a woman feels safe enough to relax, let go, and express her soft, emotional, and intuitive nature. She doesn't have to lead. She doesn't have to guess where things are going. She can simply be, because he is already being, solid, stable, and clear. A dangerous man is not dangerous. To her, he's dangerous to weakness, passivity, and chaos. He doesn't react emotionally to drama. He doesn't waver when tested. He sees through manipulation and calmly holds his ground. That kind of masculine presence is rare, and women are drawn to it because it creates structure in an emotional world. She feels like she can trust him, not because he says the right things, but because his energy speaks louder than words. When she feels this strength, it pulls her into her natural essence. She becomes more nurturing, more playful, more expressive, because she no longer needs to protect herself. She knows she's with someone who won't fold under pressure, who won't be swayed by insecurity or approval-seeking. That kind of man activates her feminine in the most natural way possible. In today's world, many men have lost touch with this energy. They're either too aggressive or too passive. But a man who is calm, capable, and rooted in his power awakens something deep inside a woman that most never will. Not because he tries to, but because he simply is. He leads himself, and by doing so, gives her the freedom to surrender fully to the connection. That's the dynamic that makes relationships magnetic, lasting, and unforgettable. The nice guy hopes she chooses him. The dangerous man knows he's the one she'll remember, because deep down, women don't want a man who plays it safe. They want a man who makes them feel something real. So the choice is yours. Stay soft and forgotten, or sharpen yourself into a man who commands respect, radiates power, and becomes dangerous with discipline.